we've definitely got a lot of solar activity. It's pretty exciting stuff. And thanks for tuning in to the Daily Space Weather. Here at the Smash News Network, least busted name in news, this first imagery we're showing you here is a composite. It's 335 plus 131 angstroms from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. It's the last 24 hours. We've got massive sunspots much larger than the Earth. Radio flux increased. Likelihood of solar flares remains very, very high. We'll get to it and lots more on today's video. Radio flux now at 165 solar flux units. There's the 1-year chart to put it in context. And let's take a look at the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard. Now NOAA forecasting possible geomagnetic unrest throughout the day today and early into tomorrow because of coronal hole high-speed streams. So we'll have to see what happens with that. We do have an increased solar wind speed here at the moment. We'll get to the detailed data on that as well. Here's ionized helium, 304 angstroms. And make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. We've got some incredible filaments, and you can see some of them, such as this one up here. For the last few days, we've seen the most filaments we've ever covered on the channel in over 5 years of doing daily space weather videos. Also some coronal holes even visible there in the 304 angstroms ionized helium wavelength from the Solar Dynamics Observatory. Let's take a look at earthly geospace. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from space. And it should be the last 4 hours if all goes well. If you want to read about how this model is derived, head to the Geospace Magnetosphere Movies page and click on Details. There'll be a link there to the Space Weather Modeling Framework. You can find out which variables are used to create that data. Here's Earth's magnetic moment from the ground. And like our Geospace Magnetosphere movie, our ground magnetic perturbations map should be the last 4 hours. And those red areas are going to be the most likely places to see things like the aurora. Also, those are the most likely places for ground induction, power lines, pipelines, and rail lines. The KP index now down to 2, and we may indeed see this rise again. We've seen the magnetic field shifting. And there's your real-time solar wind data for the last 24 hours. You can see a bit of a sputtering high-speed stream happening here at the moment. Between 477 and about 525 kilometers a second. Current conditions are about 520 kilometers per second for the solar wind speed. Solar wind density nominal here at about 8 protons per cubic centimeter. I would note this top pane, we're seeing the establishment of a rather strong signal for a negative BZ component. So that's the vertical component of the magnetic field. You can see that red line starting to form there. And if we do see that continue to be strongly in the negative, we can expect to see a resumption of geomagnetic storm or geomagnetic unrest conditions. There are your GOES magnetometers over the past 3 days. And let's take a look at the heliospheric current sheet. The plasma from the sun is oriented to one of its polar fields, and Earth is in a North Pole current sheet. Could be changing soon. South Pole current sheet shown there in red, North Pole shown in green. And let's take a look at the line of sight plot next. This imagery shows the sun's B field in blue. That's the field that goes through the magnet. This magnet being the sun. Stars, they're magnetic. Next, moving into the realm of coronal holes, we've got some new South Pole-oriented coronal holes rotating in here into the northeast. See them showing up there in red. And how about a view of this? There's your ionized iron, 193 angstroms from the SDO. And I'm telling you, the number of filaments is just extraordinarily high. Likelihood of coronal mass ejections, very, very high, just like solar flares. And let's get into sunspots next. Plenty of stuff to cover. And if you think you're witnessing a grand solar minimum, I suggest you watch more of our videos because not happening. So look at the likelihood of major flares here. Very, very high likelihood. The most likely places are Sunspot 3053, which is this one up here. Sunspot 3055, which is this one down here. Those are the two main spots. But keep in mind, these are also beta-gamma class sunspot groups capable of producing large flares as well. So plenty of stuff going on, and this sunspot down here, 3055, is just gigantic. And it doesn't look all that dissimilar from the sunspot that produced the Carrington event in 1859. Here's your 1700 angstroms wavelength for the past 24 hours from SDO. And how about a zoom in? So all of these groups, all four of these major groups here have been mostly stable over the past 24. There are some migrating umbrae up here with this one. And let's continue on. Plenty more data to look at. So there's your X-ray profile for the past 3 days. There's your proton profile, no real changes there, no new relativistic particles showing up lately. Did you know we regularly stream live to Twitch? We would have already streamed once today live to Twitch by the time this video got recorded. So make sure you follow us over there. You can find links on the homepage at smashomash.com/smashteam. If you're not seeing our videos in your YouTube feed, click on posts from smashomash.com/smashteam. And you'll find all of our content right there. Today's featured product is Do Not Pole Vault the Caldera, our second bestseller. And don't forget to enter the promo code EyeCandy to save 20%. You can find all kinds of different products with our designs on it, linked below the video in order of best selling. Again, that's our second bestseller. Don't pole vault the Caldera. Our finest days lie ahead. If you're going through hell, keep going. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance. Links on our homepage as well, smashomash.com. Thanks most of all to the Smash Team members. Did you know we just launched our subscription services site back in October of 2021? Yeah. We created a subscription service because, well, Patreon couldn't do it for us. We still are on Patreon, though. So visit our links. Again, you can find them below the video and on the homepage at smashomash.com. Take a moment to press like and subscribe. Thanks to our new subscribers over on YouTube. It's been a bit of a slog on YouTube. Here at the Smash News Network, least busted name of news, we keep citing facts. And we're assuming that certain big tech organizations keep suppressing said facts because, well, it's a mystery. It's a mystery. Let's get into the X-ray profile. And 94 angstroms is a great wavelength to view X-ray flares. Remember, folks, solar flares and coronal mass ejections are completely different phenomenon. Solar flares are photons. Coronal mass ejections are primarily protons. Don't get them confused, as so many have and do regularly on YouTube. One is light, one is diffuse gas. Know the difference. That's the last 24 hours in 94 angstroms. Let's bring up a star chart, as we're always interested in what's going on above our head, and we encourage you to go outside and look up. My star chart faces the south. Since in the northern hemisphere, that's where the ecliptic is located. That's the path the sun takes across the sky, represented by this yellow arc. The blue arc is the galactic plane. And let's continue on to a solar system forecast. And it looks like full moon day is tomorrow. Here's your 1 week forecast for the solar system. Here's where things will be in a week. We will be moving from a gibbous waning to a crescent waning around that time. Next, some coronagraph imagery. Once again, likelihood of coronal mass ejections very, very high. Just like the likelihood of solar flares very, very high. And let's show some more imagery here. Since we've got a sun diving comet. So check it out over here on the right there. You see this comet on a suicide mission. There it goes. You can see it looking like it's starting to break up there as it approaches the sun. Spectacular imagery there from the Soho-Lasco C3. You can also see it on stereo A right there in the bottom of the screen. Right there is a comet located, corroborating some facts. So no CMEs to cover. Don't be surprised to see that change soon, especially with the number of filaments that we have. We have an incredible number of filaments. And we'll let that fantastic imagery play through for you. Now, look at the size of this one filament, especially the one in the southwest. Look at that filament. That is the largest single filament we've ever covered, and the overall area of filamentary coverage is also the highest we've been covering. So the past week has featured the most filaments we've ever shown on the channel on the Earth-facing portion of the solar disk. The point is, these areas in between the Earth and Sun are very bumpy. And it may look flat, but it is not flat at all. There's a lot of material suspended out in the corona at the moment, and while some of it may collapse, a lot of it is likely to end up blasted out into the rest of the solar system. The magnetic fields will not hold on to that plasma filamentary material forever, so don't be surprised to see it headed your way soon. We've got some more moving pictures for you here before we close out today's daily space weather. You can see those filaments largely remaining intact at the moment. That's the past about 2.5 hours from the GO 16 SUVI. And here's 171 angstroms over the past 24 hours. That's where we'll have to close things out. But thanks to each of you for tuning in. Once again, press like, press subscribe, tell your friends and foes about us. We'll see you soon at the Smash News Network least busted name in news. And may that solar wind be at your back.